Good day to all of you. This is Ganesan here again from Freedom. This is the second of my videos commenting on the current goings on in our country. The question that I am raising here is, are we going to lose Malaysia Baru? Or are we on the cusp of a significant new opportunity? The answer is very much up in the air, and what I am trying to do is to give you insights that will help us to think through and not allow the loss of Malaysia Baru, but rather to create a new Malaysia on the new vision that is possible. I run a thread through seemingly disparate events that have occurred in the last couple of days, and various statements to try and answer the question: are we going to lose Malaysia Baru, or are we going to create potentially a new opportunity? This analysis is a very telling analysis. It touches on some very core points about Mahathir's agenda. Mahathir feels that there is still a need for the Malaysian state to continue playing an active role in promoting and building a Malay elite class, given the vigor of the Malaysian Chinese business community, the rise of China, and the predatory multinational corporations from the US, Europe, and Japan. He is apprehensive that the Pakatan Harapan leaders, Lim Guan Eng and Anwar Ibrahim, will not do what is necessary to protect and promote the nascent Malay elite class that he wishes to build, which he sees is a necessary requirement to build a Malaysia in his image. Lim Guan Eng believes too much in the free market and is too cozy with Chinese capital, while Anwar Ibrahim is too friendly with foreign interests and might agree to compromise the Malaysian state's capacity to nurture the Malay elite class. For example, in the TPPA, there are certain clauses where where procurement has to be opened up, and corporations can challenge governments, and this doesn't work in the interest of trying to build a Malay elite class. So Mahathir, Dr. Jayakumar feels, has been ambivalent about Pakatan Harapan remaining in power for more than one term. And that was all Mahathir needed in his association with Pakatan Harapan to get rid of the kleptocratic leaders of UMNO. And that would have suited his purpose well. So in the 20 months, that's basically what he'd been trying to do. And he's been, trying to cover that up, as I said in the last video, like trying to hide a pumpkin in a plate of rice, with his lies and hypocrisy and his usual convoluted logic. Now, then we can ask the question, why did the rest of Pakatan Harapan stand by and watch Mahathir do that? I think the answer to that is quite obvious. They did not want to lose their newfound positions, and they also had their own personal agendas. Now, this is in spite of the fact that these were the people to whom we handed the responsibility to implement the mandate which was embodied in the the Pakatan Harapan manifesto. Right? They, forgot, their personal agendas just, took precedence. And this is the thing that we see repeatedly through the entire political establishment. Now listen to what the former Education Minister Mazli Malik had to say. As minister, this was a report that came in the Free Malaysia Today portal on the 3rd of March. As minister, I had inherited so many cases of abuse of power to corruption and fraud. And this is coming from Maslih Malik, who was in the thick of things. And he's saying there were so many cases of abuse of power to corruption and fraud as he inherited the ministry. The amount of money stolen was staggering. It is an amount that many Malaysians will never see in an entire lifetime. What is money? This money was meant for children and for all Malaysians, for the poorest and most marginalized children, to vulnerable and disenfranchised workers. It was clear the Rakyat had decided they did not vote for an UMNO BN regime that was clearly kleptocratic and corrupt. This is what Maslih Malik had to say about the previous regime, the gravity of the problem, the corruption problem. I mean, from his point of view, I mean, as he describes it, is extremely significant. Now, out of Mahathir's mouth himself, clearly he says, I resigned my position as Prime Minister because I did not want to accept the UMNO being part of a new government that replaces Pakatan Harapan. Now, this is widely reported, right? And all of this, what it says basically is this. In the final analysis, putting aside all the stories about betrayals, intrigues, kleptocracy, power craziness, all of this happened only because you and I, the Rakyat, have no effective power. The political establishment and the elite have stolen it completely from us. We, the people, the Rakyat, have no real power in the so-called system of democracy. The net implications: we have lost our sovereignty as people. We've lost all power. And under these circumstances, whoever holds the reins of government can do what they please. We become no more than workhorses for those who hold the reins of power, the economic and political elite of Malaysia. So what are the options now for the Rakyat? Let me just touch a little bit more on the loss of sovereignty of the people. The political system in Malaysia, the government of the country, abides by the dictates of the Constitution. The Constitution is the supreme law of this country, which defines the political system in the country. It lays out how the government should be constituted. The people decided on the 8th of May 2018. But who's running the government now? Are these the people that the Rakyat chose? What does this mean other than the loss of sovereignty of the people? Let us not fool ourselves that we choose the government, for obviously we do not. And this has become very clear through this episode. The political establishment just cannot be trusted to carry out the mandate of the people. The mandate of the people is what, gives us any power at all as people. The politicians are supposed to implement our mandate, but they have an agenda all of their own, and they cannot be trusted. So new structures are absolutely needed to avoid the destruction of our nation. For all of us, we need these new structures, not just for a section, a race, or of certain people of certain religious beliefs, or of certain regions. We need it for all of us, for the savior of this nation. So as a Rakyat, clearly there are a few things that we have to do going forward. We have to educate ourselves out of the propaganda and ideology of the ruling economic and political elite. We have to understand how the system really works and not be mindless victims of their self-serving ideology. We must unite beyond race, religion, and region. We must not allow ourselves to be divided confused, and remained unorganized. The elite would want us like that, exactly, so they can carry on with their usurpation. We need to start making these constructive contributions so we can be really concerned and patriotic citizens. We need to develop a truly representative civil society movement to hold the politicians and the political class accountable to the people. Whatever civil society organization we belong to, we need to coalesce into a larger civil society movement. We need to identify trustworthy, non-politician leaders for such a movement and get louder with their demands and grow as we go. Now, this is what we absolutely have to do. These are our options. We as a Rakyat have to start demanding accountability from our politicians, regardless who they are, what level they are, how many billions they have, whoever they are. If they say, they are representing us, we elect them not to oppress us. We elect them to represent us. And that is what they must do. And that's what we have to hold them accountable for. But as we speak up, the elite, which is the political establishment and the millionaire, billionaire, multi-millionaire class behind them, the elite will not allow us to speak up. They will try all they can to shut us up, as is currently happening now. Even for a small group of activists recently that met in KL at a public rally on last Saturday night, they are being harassed. Let me read a little bit from a Malaysia Kini report. Activist Fadia Nadwa Fikri, who's being probed by the police today over a public rally on Saturday night, claimed that the ongoing investigation is to silence the people fighting for democracy and the truth. Speaking to media outside the Bukit Aman police headquarters, Fadia said an investigation is a form of intimidation and harassment against her. Today's investigation, she said, which was just recently, is nothing but an act of intimidation and harassment targeted at me to instill fear in the hearts and minds of the dissenting Malaysians. It is clear that it is done to silence us. So the elite will not allow us to speak up. They will try to shut us up. Now this is a complete reversal of what we've all signed up to in Malaysia Baru in the last elections. So are we losing Malaysia Baru? This is a very troubling question, but I think if things don't change from where they are now, indeed we are losing Malaysia Baru. But on the other hand, it opens up a possibility for a new era in the history of our country. A new chapter can be opened up. The Rakyat has an opportunity to redo the vision of the country to make Malaysia into a progressive and forward-orientated nation. We have to make a new start. We have all to start getting involved in this patriotic effort. Past race, past religion, and past East or West region. And this is the new chapter that we all need to get into. Malaysia Baru, we said, okay, some things to the effect, but it was still, very race-orientated, very religion-orientated, and, region-orientated. Now we have to make this new start. And this is the opportunity that we have so that we do not lose what we, all signed up for in the last general election to create a Malaysia Baru. If we don't, we stand to lose completely opportunity, which may, as I have said, may not come in another lifetime. Thank you very much.